Hello, my friends. Excuse me. It is Tuesday. Hope your guys' week is off to a good start. Let's see if we have anyone here yet. Bring up the live stream on my desktop. It's just easier for me to read. So, as mentioned, I'm going to read from the Dhammapada. I almost put it aside. Twin verses. Amazing writing. It begins with telling us that talks about the untrained mind, that how we think is wrong. Man, who wants to hear that? But it's such great news. If you look around your life right now, this very moment, and you aren't at peace, you don't have a sense of contentment, even if you got some unpaid bills, even if you're not in the health that you want to be in, any of that. But if you can be content with what is offered right now, then you have a mind that is at ease within itself. There's a great book by Katie Bryan. Give me 1 second. I knew I had it close by. Hey, Tandra. Tandra says, hey, Yogi. Loving What Is. Katie Bryan. I've had this book for quite some time, since like maybe 2009, 2010-ish. And she's what we could maybe call a modern day Buddha. Buddha simply means the awakened one, awake. She came about it the hard way. She came about it the way most of us come about any insight, through suffering. Suffering is a great gift. I don't wish it upon anyone, however, it's going to happen. It's the first law of Buddhism. Life is suffering. Hey, easy. Life is suffering because we cherish, we grasp, we're attached to that which is not meant to be held. We are attached to that which is fleeting. And then we lose it, or we don't get it, and we suffer. However, Buddha gives us a way out. So we'll read just a little bit. Hey, Max. Easy and Tandra's here. So Uptick says, good morning, Eric. Good morning, my friend. How are you? So let's read here in the beginning of the twin verses. All that we are is a result of what we have thought. We have formed and molded by our thoughts. Those whose minds are shaped by selfish thoughts cause misery when they speak or act. Sorrow rolls over them as the wheels of a cart rolls over the tracks of the bullock that draws it. All that we are is the result of what we have thought. We are formed and molded by our thoughts. Those whose minds are shaped by selfless thoughts, not selfish, but selfless thoughts, give joy wherever they speak or act. Joy follows them like a shadow that never leaves. So what the Buddha is saying, simple, our life is shaped by the thoughts that we have. If you are not happy with the life that you have now, true happiness, not the happiness that is based on having something, examine your thoughts and then simply entertain the notion of other thoughts, entertain the notion of new thoughts. We dive into the chat here, guys. Everyone's saying hi. Let's see. Paramahanyu, did I get that right? It says, hi, I'm from India. Where are you from? I'm from the United States, my friend. Welcome. Sniper says, hit the like. Thank you, Sniper. Good morning, my friend. Something says, morning, easy and Tandra. Emoji Cat, Chinese says, hi. Hello, my friend. Easy says, did Buddha believe that suffering is innate to our condition, or an illusion that we oppose upon ourselves? That's a good question. Both. I would say that, no, let me take that back. I don't think he believed it was innate in our beingness, in our condition. But he didn't see condition as a lasting thing either. It's the Arjuna, a great Buddhist teacher, talked about the middle way, and the middle way being the seeing everything as relative. There's no self that is lasting from moment to moment. So there can be no condition that is lasting from moment to moment. The Buddha would say it's not an illusion either. If we are experiencing it, it's not so much an illusion as an actuality of the moment. When we see through the moment, then we alleviate our suffering. Does that make sense? There is suffering because we believe that we are a permanent self that can suffer. When we let go of the concept of the permanent self, when we let go of the concept of an ego, then we reduce our suffering, because it's only the ego that can truly suffer. Does that mean we don't experience pain? Does that mean we don't experience sorrow? No, it does not. It means we're not adding psychological suffering to the mix. Psychological suffering is when we experience something, when we experience sorrow, when we experience grief, and we try to push it away. We try to have something other than what the moment offers. That's why, again, Katie Bryant's book, Loving What Is such a valuable guide. Loving what is, just what is, without trying to make it other. And yet at the same time, being able to see that what is not permanent. It's just what is right now. Let's see what message we have held to review. William says, I joke at myself, but serious question. Any advice for a man who has a stupidity for micro penis that wasp would be ashamed of, please? You know what? I'm going to go back to the title of the book. Loving What Is. We are as we are. Love yourself through every moment. Love yourself through everything that is happening. Love yourself, my friend. It's the answer to everything. Love yourself, but not a superficial love. Just dive into who you truly are. The egos are going to say, well, I'm flawed, but I love myself. That's the ego's type of love. We want to go past that. Sepa says, I'll get it. Manu Dewa, Eric, here is from the East Coast of America. Thank you, Sniper. Yes, I'm from East Coast. And welcome, Paramahandio. I keep saying I'll get it, but you know what? I'm not going to get it. I can keep trying to get it, and it's not going to get any better. Essence says, the Walsh family are American, right, hun? The Walsh family. You don't know. Hey, William. William says, in my case, what isn't? Laughing out loud. It doesn't need to be anything other than what it is. Hey, here's a question for you. Without the sake of comparison, how would you know one way or the other? Without the sake of comparison, we wouldn't look at ourselves with any sense of lacking. We would just look at ourselves in its innate perfection of beingness. Easy says, so by rejecting the present moment, that is where the suffering stems from. Yes, yes. In yogic Buddhist psychology, suffering is optional. It doesn't mean sorrow. It doesn't mean grief. It doesn't mean pain is optional. It means adding the psychological refusal of acceptance of the present moment is optional. Sniper's greeting William. William says, I appreciate you. Thank you. You're welcome, my friend. Emoji says, did you say India's Buddhist statue and pray Did you India's Buddha statue and pray, or God and Lord, I'm ready is so set? Question about the Buddha statue is a book, a little bit. Not sure I get you, emoji. I apologize. William says, you'd be amazed how many folks can't take that question. Shows he has depth. I take every question at face value, sincerely. And even if it's joking, it doesn't mean there's not an answer there. So, yeah, absolutely, my friend. Hey, Susanna. Susanna says, hi, everyone. Hello, my friend. Susanna says, good morning. And she hit the like. I appreciate that. Everyone's saying hi. William says, on the positive side, I can do push-ups with my tongue. See, there is a positive side to everything. That's an awesome outlook, my friend. Emoji says, why not? I'm sorry, I just didn't understand it too much. William says, 100%. Max says, I notice that there is pain in the present, but suffering tends to be a step beyond by worrying or ruminating beyond the present pain. Absolutely. It's an important insight, Max. Easy says, why are we so attached to our lives? Why do we fear death so much? That is one of the 5 afflictions. Actually, that's 2 of the 5 afflictions of yoga psychology, as well as Buddhist psychology. Moji says, bro, we're attached because we identify with it. We believe that's who we are. Attachment comes with identification. If we let go of the identification, the attachment is reduced. So the whole nature of yoga is to see through the illusory self to who we truly are. And when we do, suffering is reduced. I love the way Ken Keyes, who wrote a best-selling book in the 70s, maybe it was the 80s, The Handbook to Higher Consciousness, takes that entire concept, yoga and Buddhism, and simply uplifts us a little bit. Instead of all of our demands, we demand things to be a certain way. Demand's another way of saying attachment and diversion. I want this and I want it to stay. I don't want this and I want it to go. And he says, take all of your demands and elevate it to a preference. I would prefer this not to be here. I would prefer this to go. I would prefer this to stay. How much easier is it to have a preference than a demand? Max says, earlier today I was constipated by stress, worry, and physical pain. Hey, that little gentle movement, the bouncing, the tapping on the chest, can really help a whole lot to help move that energy out of the body. And then, once you have that little bit of motion going, you can take the positive steps. William says, I've always learned during hard times and not so much in good, easier times. Absolutely, William. Thanks for adding that. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Max says, easy, I feel you, brother. The fear of death and attached to life and what I want life to be. And if it doesn't go that way, if it doesn't go the way I want, it causes so much anxiety. But when you realize that it's only the ego, it's only the sense of self that truly dies, fear of death starts to disappear slowly, 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 slowly. Doesn't mean you run out and embrace it. William says Dan Millman was good too. I love Dan Millman, absolutely. I got several of his books right in the back. Emoji Chinese says, so what about that emoji? What emoji are we talking about? Easy says, is yoga a Hindu practice or a Buddhist practice? Neither. 1 second. Sniper says, that is where the Bardo photo is interesting. Yeah, exploring every Bardo is really interesting. The entire book of the Tibetan book of living and dying guides you through the Bardo system, as well as the Katha Upanishad. I recommend, this is Dhammapada, but Eknatheswaran, a great, great teacher. First form of meditation I seriously practiced was offered by Eknatheswaran. His dialogue with death, which is from the Hatha Upanishads. And when you really study the Katha Upanishad, which is ancient, you start seeing through the illusory nature of death itself. It's only the ego that suffers. It's only the ego that is afraid of dying. So easy. Yoga predates both Hinduism and Buddhism. Buddha himself studied with yogis until he reached that point of total despair. Wasn't finding what he wanted. He sat under the Bodhi tree, refused to move until he would awaken to the cause of suffering, which he did. And then he offered it to the world. But yoga itself is, we could say yoga comes from a shamanic practice. Studying animals, how they moved, listening to the primordial sounds of nature. Roji says, yeah, easy. William says, I find most issues are from my own self. Set expectations were not met. All from me. It can be changed. Absolutely. That's what we're talking about in the twin verses of the Dhammapada. Examine your thoughts. And if you are not enjoying life moment by moment by moment, why not? What's going on? And then change your thoughts. The whole lesson of the Tao Te Ching, change your thoughts, change your life. But the way you change your thoughts isn't by force. It is simply by examining them and being aware of them. Hey, Nightmare. I moved walls to the other side. I did. I thought I rearranged the house. I think I accidentally pressed the wrong button here. We're gonna have to fix that. Easy says, hey Squirrel Sniper, hey Max. Sorry about your pain from earlier, brother. These things can certainly make us question and make us anxious. But you know what? The very answers we're looking for are in asking those all-important questions. Even anxiety serves a purpose. Anthony Robbins, I got mixed feelings about Anthony Robbins, but I love one thing that he says. The quality of our life is based upon the quality of questions that we ask ourselves. Let's see. Cypress says, I'm about to read Dialogue with Death, Synchronicity. That's awesome. Have you read Eknatheswaran before? I started reading him in the 1980s. William says, I think Jesus, Judah, etc. must have been bald. They also set shining examples to reflect upon. That was awesome. I think Jesus' Judah must have been bald. Sniper says, I feel I came from a previous shamanic host. I could see that, Sniper. Nightmare says, do you believe in ghosts, Yogi? Yeah, I think so. I don't know what I believe about them, though. You know what I mean? I don't have a solid answer about ghosts. I think they are a phenomenon, meaning they are an appearance. But like every appearance, it doesn't have an inherent reality to it. And when they cease, they cease. Let's see. Emoji Cat says, Hindu yoga practice, of course, it is country. It's from India. Bergelum is yoga practice, synchronicity with us. This yoga practice is this Bergelum, Indian island? Not quite. Okay. Max says, my best option right now isn't to swim against the current, but flow with it. Whenever I accept life and find peace, it becomes easier. The suffering tends to be in resisting what is and not letting go. Absolutely. Hey, Stuart, how are you, my friend? Are you getting ready for your doctor's appointment? So let the twin verses go. And let's bring up Franz Kafka. Because I love it. This is the nature of meditation. This is the nature of letting go. So, again, Franz Kafka. He wrote Metamorphosis. You don't need to leave your room. Remain sitting at your table and listen. Do not even listen, simply wait. Be quiet. I'm sorry, I'm going to start again. I had a pop-up come up. You do not need to leave your room. Remain sitting at your table and listen. Do not even listen, simply wait. Be quiet, still, and solitary. The world will freely offer itself to you to be unmasked. It has no choice. It will roll in ecstasy at your feet. I love that. That's how we meditate. It's also how we simply let things be. Don't always feel like we don't always need to be doing something. That the essence of practice is accepting the moment by moment by moment by moment. Loving yourself through every moment. When we read something like change your mind, change your thoughts, change your life, or examine your thoughts, we always think that it's like a harsh and hard practice. Just be aware. And guess what? You're already aware because who you are is pure awareness. So simply sit. Allow whatever thought to be. Don't force it. Don't try to change it. Be aware of what's happening. And then offer yourself, offer the moment, absolute love, acceptance. This is what I love about A Course in Miracles. It boils everything down to forgiveness. And forgiveness isn't saying, I forgive you because. There's no because. It is saying, I forgive, and then shrugging. I forgive, because it's what I do. Forgiveness means returning to the present moment. The present moment has no grievance. It has no judgment. It has no resentments. It's simply free in and of itself. So when we forgive, we're saying, I choose to return to the present moment as often as needed. Let me catch up, guys. Just as Wendy says hello and good morning. Good morning to Wendy, Stuart. Thank you. And thank you, Wendy. William says, ex-nurse. That's a tough job, my friend. Let's see. I'm sorry, I missed a comment by you, Max. I agree that ego and our perception is so important. It seems so difficult when you reject the principles of Zen and the Tao, etc. But when you realize very dimly at times that there is a better way. That's how the entirety of A Course in Miracles happened. Someone said, two people who were constantly bickering. They were on the faculty at Columbia University in the psychology department that was filled with people, psychologists, bickering back and forth. And in frustration, William Thetford said there has to be a better way. And uncharacteristically, Helen Sluckman said there is, and I'll help you find it. And it set off a chain of events that led to 7 years of hearing an inner voice, laying out a path of peace. William says, got a bad nurse, by the way. Was in aged care and emergency. Stuart says, hope this hospital appointment goes well. I do too, my friend. Please keep us posted, Stuart. And again, sending prayers your way, my friend. Emoji says, I'm really, really sorry. I didn't ask that. That's okay, my friend. Stuart says, Yogi, if you get a chance, feed my member-only community post, please. I will. I will try to do that before I take my walk. Let's see, Emoji says, be quiet. I'm really sorry I didn't read that hospital. Easy says, you always seem so at peace, Eric. After all the pessimism I bothered you with. Oh, you've never bothered me, Easy. As well as your own life story. You're always a positive attitude with life teaches me so much. I wish I was like that. Here's the secret. Emoji is back. Hey, Vamps. Here's the secret. I told this to Toy Pups last night. I'm not always at peace. I'm not always content. I'm not always happy. I am not always in the place I wish I could be. But I have been able to practice forgiveness. Practice peace. When I say forgiveness, when I say peace, when I say practice love, it's all the same thing. Which means I don't always have to be at peace. But when I realize I'm not, I can see that as my practice. When I have my own issues with anxiety, that's my practice. My practice is always what's at hand, which means nothing's off limit. Nothing has to be any different than what it is. And man, sometimes I don't like it. Sometimes I don't like what is. But I get to practice. So it all becomes, that stream of life. Just things happening. That's life. Life is just one thing happening after another. And guess what? We get to love whatever it is that's happening. However we're able. Sometimes we can do it really good. Sometimes we can't. Emoji Cat says, hi to Vamps. Hi there, lovely people. Hi there, lovely Vamps. Max says, me too, Eric. But we are younger and we have time to learn from our teacher, Eric. At least we're here learning. Oh, me too, easy. Well, here's the thing. We are all teachers. Every single one of us are teachers. And we're all students, every single one of us. So you guys are my teachers. And I'm your student at the same time. Let's see, Emoji says bad words, says hey Max. As it says, the Walsh family is America's consciousness. I don't know who the Walsh family is. But you might be right. Emoji says, Burglum Mountain, Rushmore, Indian American. Of course, it's good luck. Okay. I've never been to Mount Rushmore. I'll be honest with you. I'm not a fan of Mount Rushmore. We took a mountain, and it was a sacred mountain to the Lakota, and we shaped it in the image of man. Imagine the hubris? Imagine the ego, the vanity, of taking a sacred mountain and putting our image, man's image, on a mountain. How ridiculous is that? Emoji Cat says leaves. Vamp says just solved the Wi-Fi issue. Easy says, you were the final link I needed in my worldview. Forgiveness truly was the concept I was lacking. Me too. Me too. It's just so easy to forgive ourselves. Well, all right. It's so simple to forgive ourselves through every issue. The path is so simple. Yoga leads to forgiveness. Buddhism leads to forgiveness. Christianity leads to forgiveness. Here's the final lesson of the crucifixion, the final lesson of the cross. We can all survive our own crucifixion. In every moment, we are either accepting the resurrection or we are crucifying ourselves or other people. When we choose the resurrection, we're forgiving. We can go to resurrection as rebirth, which is an essential component of Buddhism, believing in rebirth, not reincarnation, but rebirth. Forgiveness is allowing every situation to be reborn anew, to not drag the past into this moment. When I look at you and say, I forgive you, it's not saying I forgive you because you did something. It's saying I forgive because I refuse to drag the past events into the present. Emoji Cat says bye. Goodbye, my friend. Max says, I love how forgiveness can be towards ourselves, towards others, towards thoughts or actions or attitudes, or even towards things themselves. 100%. 100%. Emoji says, wait, come on, man. Let's go. Let's go to my home. Well, thanks for the invitation. We can go to Emoji's home. We can have another cup of coffee. We can play some video games, hang out, have a good conversation. I'm actually going to take a walk in just a few minutes. Easy says, exactly, Max. If lion is about to eat me, the best thing I can do is forgive it. I remember when you mentioned that in a conversation you had with your father. Imagine that deep sense of peace one would have to have. If a lion was going to eat me, I would forgive it. Meaning, I know I am nourishing a lion. I'm returning back to earth. Am I in that position? Nope. But let's use that lion as a metaphor. If anxiety is about to consume me, and you can't be any more anxious than if a lion is about to eat you. If anxiety is about to consume me, the best I can do is forgive it. Let's use that lion as a metaphor for whatever is occurring in the present moment. If panic is about to consume me, if panic is about to eat me, the best I can do is forgive it. The best I can do is forgive myself. Emoji says, ran her house of Eric McCarty. Sure, come on over, guys. Emoji says, unlock the door, please, and let me in. Well, I'll be right downstairs in about 2 minutes to go out for a walk. You can go out for a walk with me. Max says, easy. That would take a high level of ability that I don't have yet. I would say we all have it. We just don't realize it yet. And the process of our practice is realizing that we are already that which we seek. We are already perfect peace. We're lacking nothing. We just don't realize it yet. So our practice helps us realize that. William says, which came first, the chicken or the egg? The egg, 100%. Dinosaur predates chicken. I love perspectives. I love perspective too. I've had this discussion with some other people, and cause and effect. What came first, the dinosaur or the egg? We can just keep going back and back and back until we get to the causeless cause. Easy says, great morning live stream. Enjoy your walk. I'll see you later, Max and everyone else. Hey, if you guys want to continue talking A Course in Miracles, I have the stuff that I've been putting out on the members page. Just ask a question there, and we'll continue. Max says, a warrior walked into a temple and told a monk, don't you know who I am? I could stab my sword into your side and take your life without blinking an eye. And Max says, the monk said, don't you know who I am? I could let you stab your sword into me without blinking an eye. Awesome. I love those Zen teachings. Krishnamurti, J. Krishnamurti. His famous quote. Let me see if I can find it. This will be the last thing that I offer. It was along the lines of, the only difference between you and I is I don't mind what happens. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Man, I could just go all through his quotes. The ability to observe without evaluating is the highest form of intelligence. Observe without evaluating. Here's a great one. Hey, Max, this one's for you. One is never afraid of the unknown. One is afraid of the known coming to an end. One more. You can only be afraid of what you think you know. So I don't find the one that I wanted. Let me see, one time. One more effort. All right, here it is. J. Krishnamurti. I don't mind what happens. That is the essence of inner freedom. It is a timeless spiritual truth. I don't mind what happens. Now here's the truth about that. I do mind what happens, and that causes suffering. However, I'm letting that go. I mind a little bit less than I used to. How important is that? J. Krishnamurti says, I don't mind what happens. That is the essence of freedom. We mind what happens, which means we suffer. However, after close to 40 years, more than 40 years actually, of practice, I mind what happens a little bit less than I used to. Today, I mind what happens a little bit less than I did yesterday. All right, I'm going to catch up. Tanya says, bye, Yogi. Have a nice walk. Thank you, Chandra. Chandra, I'm going to keep you up and running for the morning. Keep us posted on your watch hours, please. William says, have a great walk. Nice to meet you. Liam from Tasmania. Wow, Australia. Awesome. We got some other friends from Australia, but you are the first from Tasmania, my friend. William says, no expectations to mislead the way. Absolutely. Thank you for hanging out, emoji. Max says, well, Eric, that is a powerful one and totally helps me right now. Awesome. Krishnamurti has a way of getting right to the point. William says, just be a leaf and enjoy the wind ride of life. Beautifully said. Can I repeat that phrase? I can. Let me bring it up one more time. Can you repeat the phrase, we don't know where the unknown? I want to make sure I get that. One is never afraid of the unknown. One is afraid of the known coming to an end. The other one was, you can only be afraid of what you think you know. That's my favorite one. You can only be afraid of what you think you know. That's the nature of anxiety. It's the nature of a panic attack. Right now, we think we know anxiety. We think we know that deep sense of fear, that things are going to be horrible, that life is going to end, that everything's going to come crashing down. We think we know it, but we don't know it. We only think we do. Man, I would suggest just go to Goodreads, and put in the J. Krishnamurti, and just spend some time reading his quotes. Let's see. Bam says, I made an interesting and potentially sad discovery. Details in private, Eric. All right. Do you want to send me a message? Let me know if later today you have time. Maybe we can have a conversation. Max says, have a great walk, Eric. Namaste. Namaste to you, my friend. Thank you, Max. All right, guys. I'm going to head out. I'm going to see everyone later today. If you get a chance, come on back. Max, let me know what time you want to talk. And thanks for joining me, guys. It's very much appreciated. Vamp says I will after the live. Thank you. All right, guys. This is it. This is soon to be after the live. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. And I will see everyone later. I'm off to take my walk. Vamp says, however, I appreciate everyone's prayers. You have it. You have it, Vamps. Goldie. Love and prayers. Love and prayers. I will do a little, Goldie, I'll do a little prayer walk for you. As I'm walking, I'll send out prayers. I find that when I'm walking in nature, it really feels like my prayers are being carried, that they're so far reaching. Vamp says, thank you for the lovely live and chat. Thank you for helping it make it lively and lovely. Thank you, Sniper. I will see you guys later. Take care.